Just across the US-Canadian border, in the province of Ontario, sits the small town of Sault Ste. Marie, a tight-knit community known for its steel production and passion for hockey.
Takes it slow, holds on, backhand scores!
The former home of some of the greatest NHL players ever. It's where my junior career began in 1995.
Me and Dad talked and said, hey, if the Sioux drafts you, you're going up, and thank goodness I did.
And where this man played his final season nearly 7 decades ago.
What can I say? I'm still here.
Meet 101-year-old Steve Wojciechowski.
They couldn't spell my name, and that's when they spelled it A-B-C-D-E-F-G.
That's W-O-J-C-I-E-C-H-O-W-S-K-I. But you can just call him Wojcie.
Growing up, instead of calling me Wojciechowski, they'd say Wojcie, Wojcie, Wojcie. So he says, we might as well change it. So we changed it. And that's it.
Steve's been addressed as many things throughout his century-long life by people across the globe. But these days, he goes by a new title that's almost as amazing as the story of how he earned it.
You won't believe it. I grew up in Thunder Bay. Everything started there. Depression came, so all you did is went on playing hockey in the outdoor rinks. I was a leading scorer for, I think, 3-4 years in junior hockey. If you give me the puck, I can put it in the net. That was no problem there. I had no problem there.
At just 18 years old, Steve was on the brink of breaking into the NHL. But before his professional career could get started, everything changed.
Words were ended. Only acts remained. War had begun.
The war came on, and I ended up in the Army. The war years were good to me. They looked after me pretty good. We had an Army team. We used to play against the Air Force team. I missed 4 good years of pro hockey on account of the war years. And when the war was over, Detroit contacted me to come to the training camp.
In the 1940s, the Red Wings were a dominant team, coached by Hall of Famer Jack Adams. They were Stanley Cup champions in 1943. Then 1 season later, a 22-year-old rookie joined the team, Steve Wojcie.
I had fun. I think I had something like 15 goals before Christmas. I was doing good.
Steve's first season wasn't just good. It was historic. Setting Detroit rookie records for both goals and points, and earning a nomination for the NHL's Rookie of the Year. More importantly, he would get his first taste of NHL playoff hockey.
Millions of people across Canada listened and watched as the annual Sports Classic began.
The Red Wings' first-round series against the Bruins was a chaotic one.
The thing is, you never know when it comes to playoffs who's going to win.
With the team splitting the first 6 games. Then, in Game 7,
you can almost feel the jubilation of the victorious Red Wings.
And now it was just team against team. Toronto Maple Leafs and Detroit Red Wings.
just 5 months after his first NHL game, Steve would be competing for the most coveted trophy in sports.
The Stanley Cup represents the history of hockey, one of the most famous sports trophies in the world.
There's very few people that get on it. 20 a year.
Detroit dropped the first 3 games of the series, 1 loss away from elimination.
The other team could be hot and you could be cold. It's tough.
Then, the unexpected happened.
The Red Wings showed the true champion spirit and dug in harder. It took plenty of heart to win the 5th game. Hockey at its very best. Terrific uphill fight by the battling Red Wings.
Steve and the Red Wings battled back, forcing another Game 7.
This has been one of the hardest fought Stanley Cup series in all hockey history.
1 win away from claiming the Stanley Cup.
When I say the Stanley Cup,
Yeah.
what do you think of?
You made a mistake. You played on the wrong team. I played with the wrong gang.
And the Toronto Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup.
We didn't win no Stanley Cup. No.
2 evenly matched teams who went right down the line before a decision was reached.
When you're losing a Stanley Cup, you don't go out smiling. Everybody goes out crying, I guess.
And the Pittsburgh Penguins have won the Stanley Cup.
We can devote our whole careers to winning the Stanley Cup.
The Sharks salute their fans as they depart.
And come up short.
We were close, but that's about it. So outside of that, I guess live with it. So I don't know what else I could say about it.
The following season, with more players returning from the war and limited roster spots in the 6-team NHL, Steve was sent to the minors to play alongside another young Detroit prospect, one who would go on to change the course of hockey history, Gordie Howe.
Here's Gordie here, way up here. This little guy, he's hiding behind him. He was shy then.
That shy teenager would become the NHL's all-time leading goal scorer. But before all that, he was competing with Steve Wojcik for a spot on the Red Wings.
Jack Adams chose him instead of me. That's how I stayed in American League instead of getting back up. Never got back up again.
Steve's first season in Detroit was also his last. He would spend the next decade as a top player in the AHL, scoring over 250 goals and winning 2 minor league championships.
We won 2 cups in the American League. It felt good. Look at that big bottle of heavy drinkers. Even the coach, look at that.
Then in 1956, Steve played his final season of pro hockey in the place where he'd call home for the next 70 years, Sault Ste. Marie.
I got here and offered me a job at the steel plant, and I took the job. So I ended up working at a steel plant for a good 32 years before I retired. That was the end.
Little did Steve know, his story was far from over. Decades after he retired, the lasting impact of his journey would become increasingly apparent in the form of letters. Hundreds of letters. Sent from everywhere. From people of all ages. Each one addressed to Steve Wojcik. Many asking for his autograph. Every single one answered and signed by Steve. Some paying compliments. Some asking questions. And some sharing memories. Then as the years went on, and the letters continued pouring in, the messages changed. No longer acknowledging Steve's accomplishments of the past, but now congratulating Steve for something he's doing today. At 101 years old, he's the longest living NHL player ever.
What's your secret?
I wish I knew. I got good neighbors. They helped me out. They've all been good to me.
Steve continues to be a cherished member of the community, where his hockey career ended and the rest of his life began.
He's one of a kind. Every time my kids and I would go outside and play road hockey, he was always coming outside and sitting down. So then one time I was like, well, you know what? You should show us how it is. He's like, okay.
Whoa, still got her, eh?
I'm up and around. That's the main thing. You got to get up and move.
Oh!
What can I complain about? Nothing.
I love these words, I love these songs, and in our hearts they each belong. And when our lifetimes are done, within these lines we'll live on.
So Steve, consider this a letter to you from myself and the entire hockey community. I couldn't think of a better ambassador for the sport we all love. You're living proof that retirement isn't the end of our stories. It's just the start of the next chapter.
Goodbye. See you next year.